Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Speak with Dilys show. Oops, now I think it would be easier if you could see me like this. Good evening, good people. How are we doing? Lovely to have you on here. Today we are going to be talking about life, but you are going to tell me what elements of life you want to be talking about. Hi, Ifwa, thank you for jumping on here and thank you for sharing because I know you will. Thank you so much. Good evening, good people. How are we doing? Oh, yes. Okay, so you know the drill. So you're already sending me the hearts. That's what I like to see. Y'all know the drill. Hi, Sharon. How are you doing? Lovely to have you on here. As you join, please invite somebody. Let's have this conversation. Hi, Owl. How are you doing? Hello, Amadori. Guys, you seem very excited to be here today. That's good. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to see. Hi, Terence. How are you doing? Happy Sunday to you, lovely people. It is a good day to be alive. Ifwa says, I'm well by his grace. How are you doing too? Hi, Jocelyn, Gerald, thank you for jumping on here as well. Like I said, I have had a very interesting week. The reason being because I had a toothache and I never have anything wrong with my teeth. But unfortunately, such was the case for me. It was dire. I was really struggling, but thankfully I'm okay now because I was thinking that I might not be able to make it today, but you know, as God would have it. Look what he did. So yeah, I'm well, happy, overeaten because I went out with some friends after church today and we had a really lovely meal. I can't remember the name of the place, probably because I can't pronounce it. But it was very nice. That's all I can tell you. So, hi, Anita Agri. Hi, Aisha. Hi, Nana Amma. And is that Barbara? Barbara Cleves. Lovely to have you on here. And Kevin as well. And Afolabi, my faithful brother. How are you doing? And Sharon as well. Guys, thank you so much for joining. And Beverly as well. And Amadoreen. Lovely to have you on here. I am going to let you know what conversation we're going to be having today and just explain a little bit about the background of Speak with Dilys. For those of you who don't know who I am and who are going to watch this on the replay, and many of you do, I will give you a very quick rundown of all the boring bits. So my name is Dilys. What do? I am a coach and I specialize in the areas that you're going to see me or see us speaking about here: relationships, marriage, grief, life, trauma. I used to run a charity called Who Will Hear My Cry, raising awareness on rape, child abuse, domestic violence. So sometimes we have, conversations around that as well. What else do? I'm the best-selling author of the book, Not This Widow. And my first book, Predator or Prince, How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares, was also penned by myself, which shows women how to spot red flags in men who may be mentally, physically, sexually abusive. Very important book. Contrary to what you might assume from the title, like 10 Steps to Find Your Ideal Man, it's a hell of a lot deeper than that. Both those books are on Amazon. And also, as you may know if you watch this show every week, there are 2 books that are going to be coming your way from me by the end of this year. One is about forgiveness and the other one is an Inspiration and Aspirations book. Leo, you're clearly new to this page, so welcome. Yes, when it says How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares, you can go and buy the book and you'll know exactly what it talks about. And as I said, it's not 10 steps to finding your ideal man. It's actually a journey that starts with self, from the girl child to the adult female, and the encounters that we have as women or as we have as young children, and what we see in relationships and the templates that they create that leads us into making unwise choices in relationships or not being able to spot people who are abusive. It's a very important book. I would suggest that you go read it. So Sheila, thank you for joining. Adele, lovely to have you on here. Sheila, Drew, Ohene Barfit, I hope I pronounced your name properly. Yep, I hope I have. And Sharon Shazi Digans, thank you for being on here as well. Guys, as you've joined, please do share. So yes, so the new look of Speak with Dilys. Thank you, Shazi. So the new look of Speak with Dilys, as I said, before, what would happen is I would come with a topic, and then we would discuss it after I have given some kind of presentation or some kind of coaching around that topic. Would come with the issue and the solutions to combat that particular issue. So for example, when we would speak about things like mothers that hate their sons, or, oh gosh, whatever have we spoken about, how to live with chronic illness, and all those really important topics that we don't see, enough places where those spaces are held for those kind of conversations. There are also the part B, which it then kind of gives you those pointers of what you can do to solve it. Hi, Leo. I'm loving Leo. Leo says, my mummy taught me not to hit women and to treat them nicely. Well, that's very good. I'm a cheeky sod. He goes, I'm a perfect choice for you, Dilys. I'm not looking. Thank you very much. So I hope you got the right spirit. You're definitely going to be good for this show. So let me just explain to you. So for those of you that are new and those that will catch us on the replay and would like to join next week, Speak with Dilys now has kind of evolved a little bit. We've gone through some different changes, and stop distracting me, guys. And what we're doing now is you guys can ask any question that you like, and off the cuff, I will answer those questions. And it's a learning moment for all of us. So it's not just about me, about my knowledge. And as I said last week, it's about those building blocks where we've had over 50 shows on Speak with Dilys. We've spoken about so many different topics, vast and wide. I did a 3-part series on marriage. We've spoken about relationships with our parents, how to deal with conflict, how to, deal with suicidal thoughts. We have gone real deep. Now it's about discussing the things that we have listened to, what we've learned from them, and how that is empowering us and equipping us to deal with life moving forward. So by all means, ask your questions and let's get this party started. Last week, I think somebody asked a question about cultural appropriation. That was Shell. And then we had a question about how to be a woman, how to be a lady, how to be graceful and within that space. And I think the answer that I gave, because I like to understand what you're asking and not just go straight in an answer and maybe completely off topic. So I do like, and that's just the coach in me, to unpick the question a little bit so that there was a clear understanding. I'm answering the actual question that you are asking. So a bit of background of what Speak with Dilys looks like now. I'm also letting you know that Speak with Dilys is now going to be on TV. I will give you the finer details during the week. There's a lot going on at the moment. As I said, I will slow down a little bit because I had what I thought was a toothache, but apparently it was something far more interesting, and it was to do with my sinuses, even though I haven't had a cold. I don't have a blocked nose, and I can breathe fine. So that was that. So as usual, I will read to you what today's show is about. So life matters, and life matters have us all in a quandary at times, and this is why the space Speak with Dilys was created. Why we feel we have to figure out life on our own is beyond me, because it really is. We can ask for help and support, and often that starts with a conversation. There's a lot we're dealing with in these times: financial issues, battle of the sexes wreaking havoc on relationships, oh yes, that one, uncertainty of our futures, you name it, there's a voice somewhere whispering in our ears of what next to fear. So let me introduce myself. I'm the lady that's a little bit funny in the head and haha, with a wealth of personal and professional experience that would like you to join her for the 3rd episode of Speak with Dilys Life Matters on Sunday, which is today. So guys, welcome. Do share and let's get this party started. So what would you like to talk about? And while you're thinking of whatever question you want to ask, I'll just give you a little bit of what I have observed. And of course, because my work is very much about social media and what have you, I'm always on here, having conversations, looking at what people are talking about, the general consensus on a topic and stuff like that. And apart from my tooth, killing me throughout the week, I think it was from Monday, I was suffering till about Thursday. I came across, well, I didn't really come across it because I was part of the conversation, but I kind of came to a conclusion that people are very hypocritical, I think. And why I say this is a very thing we accuse people of, more often than not, we're guilty of. So I'll put it in context for you. So I watched this skit, one of these random channels, and this girl did a horrendous English accent. When I say horrendous, I actually thought she had some kind of speech impediment. And then I listened again and I thought, oh, that's supposed to be an English accent. The number of people up in their feelings about it, you'd think that I'd cussed her mother or something. And a lot of the comments were around, oh, you must be jealous. And I'm thinking, are we that immature that we cannot have a difference of opinion and it come down to, oh, you're just jealous, without actually looking at the person that you are accusing of jealousy? Bearing in mind, this was not a real life thing. This wasn't a live video like how I'm speaking on a live video and this is how I speak. This was somebody acting. So for example, when I do my Auntie Mabel impersonation and I talk like an old Jamaican woman and tell you to mind on your business and behave on yourself, and then someone gets really offended, let's say someone says, I think that's a really rubbish Jamaican accent, I don't like it. And people get up in their feelings, oh, you're just jealous, and the person's actually Jamaican. It does sound a little bit, not too smart. And what I realized is that we are heading towards a very dangerous space where people are afraid to be honest for fear of being attacked. Now, you know me, it's like water off a duck's back. I think when I started the charity Who Will Hear My Cry, raising awareness, rape, child abuse and domestic violence in Africa, where, dare I say, fighting that corner from the standpoint that I took was unprecedented and very unapologetic at the time. And when it came to insults, believe you me, I think I've heard them all. Anything from, I have had multiple abortions as to why I can't give birth. I've got 2 children, by the way. As to why I, can't find a man. I'm now widowed. I was married then. To me being a prostitute, you name it, it was thrown at me. When my husband passed away, it was, you killed your husband. What haven't I heard? So unfortunately for these lot, it was really water off a duck's back. But my point is, if you want to express an opinion on social media, then you have to, if you're not made like myself, you either don't comment or brace yourself for the onslaught of people getting up in their feelings. I personally don't care, but it made me realize how messed up we are. Because the truth of the matter is, few people would actually stand in front of another person and say half the stuff that comes out of their mouth. And I just think that we are in a space where we are being so fake and so pretentious that you have to agree that, yes, something's great, it's brilliant. When really you're looking at it, you're thinking, what the hell was that? That was terrible. And because of that, we are creating people who are entitled, who feel the world owes them something, and we are not preparing them for the real world. Because when you actually go out into the real world, and let's say, for example, this young lady wants to be, cast for a show as somebody who is British born, she will fail abysmally. But unfortunately for her, she's got all these people telling her, no, it's great, it's brilliant. And I think it's frightening. I think it's really dangerous. And this is why we have to be able to differentiate between social media and real life. Because if we don't do that, when we have to step into the real world and deal with real life situations, like real life situations that hit our relationships, that hit our families, how to, raise our children or anything, or finances. For example, talking about money as a woman means automatically you are relegated to gold digger status. You cannot say that you want a man that is able to provide, because people's minds go to immediately it means that you're lazy, you're a gold digger, and all you want is a man for his money. When no, what you're saying is, I need you to be good because I'm good. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Let me read some of your wonderful comments and welcome some of you on here as well. So Anita says, once bitten, twice shy is always worth taking a chance on love. As for me, I'm a hopeful romantic. I thought you said hopeless. Hopeful romantic. There's always someone special out there. Bad experiences shouldn't be necessary to put us off trying again. We just have to choose wisely. So that must have been in response to somebody. And I hope to find that, or do post lower down the line, because when your comments come, I'm like, I didn't catch up, which is good, because it's good that we're having these conversations. Aloha, Gloria, thank you for being on here as well. Ikea Sakuria, thank you for being on here. Amadorine says, your Miss Mabel accent is on point. Thank you. And she's Jamaican, so yeah, everybody can just get out of here. Sierra Leonean Pearl, thank you for watching. And Shaza, thank you for being on here. Shirley Ann, how you doing? Lovely to have you on here. Honorable Nasike says, the beauty of your necklace is distracting me, LOL. Now, okay, so Encapo are the ones that sponsored the first episode of Speak with Dilys Series 5. This is going for £74.99. If you like it, hit me up. I will let you know how you can get this necklace. Let me tell you, these are normally one-off pieces, okay? So just to let you know, and I will give you all the necessary details. So I don't mind, repeating the information. Shell says, I would tell someone to their face what I thought, and that's probably why I have a few friends. My bedside manner doesn't suit some people. Well, it is what it is. Your people are your people, and those that aren't. Amadorine says, we are now thought to be respectful and non-judgmental. We are now thought to be respectful and non-judgmental at all. Therefore, we tend to be hypocritical. I'm not quite sure I understand what you're saying, but do hi, Reki. I'm going to call you after this, Reki. I've got something to tell you. And you'll be very, very happy to hear it. Gloria Adwas says, we never know what we will do if that okay. This is why I have to stop wearing light stuff, because as I'm reading your comments, depending on where I lean will show whether, okay, if it's a dark background, I can read. So I'm going to open my shirt a little bit. Don't get any funny ideas. Okay, so we never know what we will do if the person's situation, or if and when the role is switched. Perhaps we will do better, but then time and chance may not favor you in that moment. So if we can't be compassionate, just shut up, I think you're trying to say. It is just not nice to be judgmental when you have no idea what the other person had to choose from, or what option that person had to choose from. I completely agree with you. Sakura is clapping her hands. Mimi Mensa, thank you for being on here. You did promise you'll be here. Good evening. Good evening. And she's saying good evening, beautiful people. So I'm sure you will respond in kind. Helen Cook, thank you for being on here, and Mariama as well. So what are your questions for me tonight? Because that is basically what my week has looked like. Just that observation that people are not honest. Guys, if you're watching, please do share. And let me know what questions you have tonight about anything you like, life, love, or even what I've spoken about. What questions, pop up for you. Hi, Helen. And yeah, it is something that I have found to be quite interesting. And the way people are grossly disrespectful. And the other thing that I observed is the fact that people expect you not to respond. So people are particularly offensive and abusive, hoping that they will get away with it. So I have the tendency to just block. It's like block, 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 because that just kind of cuts the argument. So those are the things that have stuck out for me this week. And I think for what I want to do in the future, it just says to me that there is a lot of work to do. Because people have very much, whilst I'm talking, guys, do post your questions in there. People have very much become reliant on that form of communication. What is concerning is if it were to continue, because you can't speak to people like that in real life. You wouldn't dare. But you have, of course, what we call, keyboard warriors, where people are very much happy to say things that they wouldn't say to your face. And I guess maybe in real life, people may kind of practice that in a way by just being hypocrites, saying one thing to you, to your face, and another thing to other people. I've recently, had that experience with someone, which was quite interesting. But I think in time, I was going to share something a couple of weeks ago. And as I said, this show is always evolving. So there will be episodes where I will have a topic that we will discuss, where it will be a little bit of the old style, but there's some versatility going on here. So Sierra Leonean Pearl says, I don't like the word judgmental, especially after sharing your most vulnerable side. What do you mean, Sierra Leonean Pearl? Expand on what you mean. Marlene, thank you for being on here. Have I missed some of your questions? Hold on, because I do have to scroll through quite a lot. If you've posted a question, can you just repost it now so that I can see it? When you said I don't like the word judgmental, especially after sharing, or do you mean you don't like people being judgmental after you shared your heart? Well, that's understandable. But people tend to be. And people tend to be more judgmental on social media. And this is why I think it's important to be grounded and have your people around you. Don't get caught. Someone like me, for example, I take things with a pinch of salt. So as much as I know you guys are lovely, and I do believe you are genuinely lovely, I still have to remain grounded, and I will put it in context. If I wanted to get into an argument with somebody, I know that 95% of you would support me for various reasons. But that support would allow me to misbehave if I was not mature, or if I took that support for granted. So rather than respecting the support and myself in a way that would not make me be big-headed, and when I say misbehave, i.e. feel because I've got support I can just talk nonsense to people, if you started to be abusive, I feel my responsibility rather is to check you guys and say, no, let's keep this space nice. I know that you guys are supporting me, and it's happened before. I know you guys are supporting me, but still, I have to maintain a certain standard for these people. So I hope that makes sense. So Leonean Pearl said, for example, past childhood traumas. So you mean, you know, when you share past childhood traumas, people being judgmental towards you. If I have understood your question correctly, post it in there and I will come back to it. Leo has asked, what is the limit of freedom of speech for me? It's a good question. And I think in the times that we live, and guys, please do share. If you're watching this, do share. Put it in the comments box so I can thank you for the support, because I rely on you guys to get this out there. I've stopped doing paid ads because Facebook have really restricted a lot of things. So I rely on the people that really want to hear me to watch this show. So I don't do paid ads for the time being, and I haven't done for a while. I feel that people should always strive. Thank you so much, Shell. Thank you, Amadori, for sharing. People should strive to be honest. Honesty is not synonymous with tactlessness and rudeness or being bitchy. Freedom of speech should come with wisdom, because the whole point of speaking is because you want to communicate a message. And if the message that you are communicating cannot be received because of how it's been packaged, then there's no point talking, because you have defeated your own purpose for opening your own mouth. So the fact that you may not face criminal charges or not be, arrested for saying something doesn't mean it has to be said in that way, because you can still say it, but you can use wisdom in how you open your mouth to convey a message. So for example, and like I'm saying, because I appreciate the fact that we are in an era where you can't necessarily feel free to be honest. But what you shouldn't do is say things just because you are sailing close to the wind in terms of what you could be held responsible for criminally. No. Because what is your objective? Is your objective to offend, or is your objective to put your point across? And I think that, to me, would be as far as I think freedom of speech should go. Because there are people that their whole intent is to offend, is to hurt people's feelings, is to embarrass people and make them feel bad. But they will tweak it in a way, like, for example, I was called the N-word on Facebook. So what they did, because obviously they didn't want their account to be restricted, was do N and something else. Now, when I reported it, of course, it doesn't go against community standards. And I tell somebody not to be a female canine and my account gets restricted for being nasty to somebody else who was trying to promote their business. But there you go. So I think for me, freedom of speech also should be freedom of wisdom. Use your common sense, be tactful, be respectful in whatever it is that you are seeking to communicate. Because if what you're seeking to communicate is insults, then it's not freedom of speech that you're relying on. You're just a nasty person that just wants to be disrespectful. So there you go. Does that answer that for you? F1 says, yes, I agree. Applying wisdom and discernment to your speech. That's what I would say. Hi, Susan. Lovely to have you on here. And Abana as well. Marlene says, yes, on point. Can create more confusion. Now, I'm going to scroll up a bit because I know a couple of you have posted a comment. And Gloria says, how do you treat people who make you feel your trauma is not worth dealing with? Some people try to make you feel your issue is not as bad as theirs, so don't make a fuss about it. It's like people are comparing for whose trauma is worth addressing. Okay, what I would say to you, and you know me, I'm a church girl, so I will always, without any apology, go back to what I know. There's a phrase in the Bible that says, not to cast your pearl before swine. And in a nutshell, without me taking you to church this evening, means that which is of value to you, do not present or put in the hands of somebody who doesn't know its value. So when you share your trauma with people who do not appreciate what you've been through, or want to say my cut's deeper than yours and start comparing traumas, that's a responsibility that you have to take because you had no business going there. And what is your motive for sharing with them? And you see, I say this to people all the time when I'm coaching people who have been through trauma and maybe want to go back to the person who was the cause of their trauma. Like, whoa, hold up, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. And the reason being, you have to look at what it is that you hope to achieve from that encounter. Guys, if you're watching, please do share. Look at what it is that you are looking to achieve. Do you want an apology? And this goes for when I've taught on forgiveness and one of the other topics that I've spoken on. What is the end product that you want to go away with? Is it an apology? Is it recognition of the wrong, irrespective of there's an apology or not? Is it that you want to see genuine remorse? Because if it's any one of these three things, or if it's especially needing to see remorse and wanting an apology, you need to ask yourself, what do you do in the event that you don't get either of these two? It's the same with sharing your trauma. If you share your trauma with somebody that doesn't appreciate it or cannot relate to it, be it because they are too sanctimonious, too self-righteous, too inexperienced, or too far up their own, then why did you go there in the first place? Because you've got to be clear on what it is you want out of that encounter. If you're sharing your trauma with anybody that wants to hear, then you need to take responsibility for the response that you get from that. If you come to somebody like myself, who is a professional, and you book a consultation with me and say, Dilys, I want to speak to you about XYZ. And I'm like, oh, is that it? Then you have the right to be offended. I don't believe you necessarily have the right to be offended in the wider sense of the word if you're casting your pearl before swine. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I would answer your question. So I would say to you, be mindful of where you allow your wound to be inspected. If you had a physical wound and you were going to get it checked out, you wouldn't just go to the bloke sitting on a park bench. You would go to a doctor. In other words, you would go to somebody that is qualified to be able to tend to your wound. At the very least, will be able to give you advice on how you can allow that heal to wound and recommend what kind of medication would be required. It's the same with sharing your trauma. Do not go and share your trauma with the bloke on the park bench, because you will be sorely disappointed, as some of you may have found out. So just be mindful of who you share it with. Shell says, Gloria Ajwa, if someone drowned in a puddle and someone drowned in a lake, they both drowned. I think, therefore, we shouldn't compare. You're absolutely right, Shell. You're absolutely, and do you know what? I think I'm going to have to steal that. I will give you all the credit. But if you drown in a lake and you drown in a puddle, and it's both drowning and you both die. And I use the same analogy when I say, if you're hit by, friendly fire or enemy fire, it makes no difference. You're still hit and you can still die. So it makes no difference. Marlene said, yes, on point, can create more confusion. I don't know what that is in relation to. And Gloria's response exactly. However, I have found some people just shut you up and tell you, at least you've this, and are still complaining. And how many people do that to friends? And I'm surprised why you would determine the degree someone's trauma should go or be addressed. So I think I've answered that. And again, you need to look at our culture. She also went on to say, Dilys, that phrase, casting a pole before swine, got me. Thank you. Best answer and well taken. Bless you. I'm glad you understand. And I know sometimes people think I may sound a bit harsh, but I'm honest, because my objective is not just to, I will whip you and I will rub you in the same place to make sure that it doesn't hurt too tough. But I have to tell you the truth. You need to be mindful with whom you have these conversations. Your trauma is very personal. It's very precious. It's very delicate. It's very sensitive. So you can't have that conversation with everybody. You really can't. And Duke Gemfleet, thank you for being on here as well. And Anita says, we have to exercise caution about who we share our trauma with. Or, she said, we have to do who we share our trauma with for real. However, once healing comes, it's possible to share experiences generically in order to help others. Yes, because you've come to that place where you've healed from the trauma. But whilst that trauma is still fresh, or when you remember the trauma, it still has the same effect as it did when it first happened, then you're not in that space. So that is really important. Gloria goes on to say, for me, I have come to a place in my life with two conclusions. Accept forgiveness, which I know will definitely come, and two, learn to move on, but love from afar. I need to make decisions based on my heart and not my pain. I love that. That is great. Yvette, thank you for being on here. And Essie, how are you doing? Thank you for being on here. So guys, what other questions do you have? I've just seen Leo's response. Nicely spoken. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for being on here. And I always love to have new people on here. It's always great. So thank you for being on here. Alison, how are you doing? Lovely evening to you, my darling. So Alison, I don't know if you know what's going on, but Speak with Dilys has got a different vibe to it. People are asking questions that they want to answer. It could be about anything, just life generally. And that's what we're going to be doing on Speak with Dilys moving forward, at least for series 5. As I said, we are going to be on TV very, 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 very soon. There's a few things that need to just be crossed and dotted, and we will be good to go. So anyone that catches this, I will be looking for people that would like to sponsor the show. As you can see, I had a sponsor for series 1, and it was Nkapo, who are based in Ghana. They do beautiful neck pieces, bespoke, very one-off piece. Most of them are one-off pieces. So if you like something, you either grab it or you can place a special order. So as you can see, my eyeshadow matches my neck piece. So yes, I'm trying. You see what I do for you guys. You see the lengths I go to. I actually had to learn how to put on makeup properly. So I think I'm trying. Check out the eyeshadow. What do you think? And I got this nice little trick where, I bring it down here a little bit. So I'm trying. Thanks for the hearts, darling. I take it y'all approve. Thank you so much. Hi, Canny Carver. How you doing? Shell, what's so funny? I'm trying. Not bad for an old bird. You know what I mean? So guys, keep your questions coming by all means. Let me know what else you would like to ask. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's anything that I have missed. Mariam Adine, thank you so much for sharing. Guys, do share. What else are you asking? Is that Cho Hewlett, Makeup on Point? Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't think you guys realize how much of a tomboy I can actually be. I could be very, very ladylike, but you should see me when I'm at home. My daughter's godparents literally live 4 doors away, and I have been known to go to their house in my dressing gown and my sliders. I am not cute at all. I'm very, let's call it down to earth. Hi, Green Dodo, how are you doing? Thank you for watching, guys. Please do share. And I know that this format is going to take a little bit of getting used to. And I know you love to listen to me teach and what have you, but I want you guys to let me know what you've learned. We've done, like I said, we have had over 50 something conversations over this whole period. And I know a lot of you do speak to me privately, like you'll come in my inbox, you'll say, you know what, we had a conversation. I spoke with somebody this week and they said to me that, you know, listening to your show, we don't have these kind of conversations. No one talks about this kind of stuff. I talk about this kind of stuff because it's happening. And it's important that, you know, we come out of ourselves. And, you know, if you need to ask something anonymously, just message me during the week. I will cut and paste this and paste the question on my thingamajig and I'll read it out. Or you can inbox me. And don't forget, because I work as a coach, the conversation that I have are confidential. I'm not going to come and say, oh, you know, Anita called me and she said she had, I don't know, whatever going on with her. That would never happen. So, and even when I share some of the things that my clients share with me, I always embellish the identity of that person. So if the person was white with 2 daughters, I would say that they were Asian with 3 sons. But the story of itself would be the same. So it's really important that I reassure you guys that you know that. So Helen, thank you very much for the compliment. I'm trying, as you can see. So just to reassure you that you are in a safe space. So ask your questions by all means and know that they will be answered honestly and sincerely. And this is off the cuff because they're not rehearsed. I could very much say to people, why don't you send me a list of questions so that I will have them ready for the show. I don't want to do that. I am not afraid. I'm not playing a numbers game here. I'm playing a life game here. I need you to ask me questions or for you to ask your questions that are important to you. So Sri Lankan Pearl says, loved you from the first time I joined your show. Thank you so much. And you've been great. I mean, some of you are here diehard every single week. So it's lovely. Shell says, how do you know if therapy is worth another go or whether you have come to the end of the line? Maybe therapy has just become a habit. Now, because I know you, Shell, I know that you ask very pertinent questions. Well, I know you from Facebook and we've been friends on Facebook. You know, we interact a lot on Facebook. And I think it's a really good question, especially for the work that I do and with the experiences that you have had that you share very openly. I would say this, and I think it's quite easy. When I see my clients or when I do my consultations, and guys, if you're watching this, please do share. If you haven't shared, I'll give you a smack on the wrist, but please do share and put it in the comments box so I can, you know, thank you for the support that you're giving. When I get my clients, I ask them, what is your objective? And do you have an end goal? And if you do, what is it? There are times where the person doesn't have an end goal. They just know that they will figure it out through the process of our interaction, which is fine. There are other people, especially when they've dealt with trauma, are quite specific about what they would like to happen. The question is, once you have identified what you want at the end of it, you will very easily be able to identify whether you are on your way there. And if you're not on your way there, That's when you have to hold fire and have an honest conversation with yourself as to why. Because the why, I do not believe is difficult to find out. 9 times out of 10 is because the part that can unlock that door for you to go to the next stage is normally too painful. Either it's too painful, or what is required to let it go is not something the person is prepared to do. And the trauma itself, or nursing that trauma in itself, has become something that is a part of them that they rely on. They wouldn't know what to do without the trauma. So the trauma is constantly nursed to give them something to do. Because when you want to move forward with your life, it takes work. I know I keep going back to when I lost my late husband, but I use that because it's a huge thing. I got to a place where I had to ask myself or tell myself, I want to be happy. And in wanting to be happy meant I couldn't be sad. Real simple, right? But what that meant was there was work for me to do to ensure that I could be happy. That was tough. It meant I had to go into areas that was not comfortable for me. It meant I had to be honest about certain things that I was able to sweep under the carpet. It meant I had to be so secure and comfortable with who I was that whatever happy meant, I was prepared to go for it. Whether that meant dating, whether that meant me going into therapy, which I did, whether it meant confronting my fears, I had to do it because that was part of what happy looked like to me. So when you have somebody that is in a constant state of therapy, it's because therapy has become not only a crutch, but where one has to practice what they're learning in therapy, they are not practicing it with the mindset that I need to move on from therapy. The mindset is that therapy is always going to be there. And therefore it's kind of like being a child living in your parents' house. For as long as they're supporting you, you don't have to be independent. And sometimes therapy stops you from being emotionally independent. Therapy becomes a habit. I had a consultation last week and I told this person, I feel you will not need more than 9 sessions with me. If you need more, then it will be because of this particular area that we would have to work with. But I don't see you being a long-term client. There are others that I know you will be long-term, but my objective is that we will have to part ways. Not in a horrible way, but the moment I become your crutch, you are not living. What you're doing is you are coping. Coping is good, but you cope for a while. You don't go through life coping, you go through life winning. There has to be those stages. So my answer to your question, Shell, is that yes, I do believe that you can come to the end of the line of therapy because you yourself know that you've come to the end of the line because it's not helping. There is no value add. And that's the point where you have to say, well, why is there no value add? I have to get a grip and take responsibility for life and try those areas that I have basically barricaded because they're either too painful or I don't want to let go, because that normally where your liberty is in the same room that monster's in. And you've got to be able to go in there and fight the bear. So that would be my answer on that one. Anita Fengai, thank you for being on here. Helen Cook, she said, how would you navigate co-parenting with a partner who has a completely different style? I have tried to talk to him endlessly. It makes no difference. My husband is the good cop who says nothing and leaves me to be the bad cop stuff. Plus we have a complicated setup as I am a stepmother to his now we're talking. To his 2 children, 11 and 8, and biological mother to my sons 3 and 2. I realize we have had upbringings, but it really but it's really tiring when my husband doesn't do the basic things parents should do to guide their kids. It's a very, very tricky one, and I hope that probably the last one that I'll be able to squeeze in. And I know there's other conversations going on here, which is amazing. Guys, like I said, this is an ever-evolving show, so please, if you ask a question this week and it doesn't get answered, please jump on here quickly and make sure that you get in there quick, because you guys kind of warm up. Yeah, I know, I think I got you, Helen, sweetheart. So sorry, I meant different upbringings. I get you. And this is maybe a bit of advice that's a little too late. But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of having parallel thoughts here. My brain sometimes goes in different directions. So when you come on next week, do come on here quickly and ask your questions quickly. And maybe what I'll do is I would try and spend as much time as I can to get as many questions in. But the question that you've asked, and this is why it's so important, again, for us to have conversations prior to tying the knot and having kids and getting married and all of that, because it's really important. How you bring up your children is a major conversation that we should have with our partners, because if we don't get it right and get it clear, it's really difficult. I would kind of take it in two parts. When it comes to step-parents, depending on the ages of the children, the relationship that you have, but in general terms, leave discipline to the biological parent. And when I say leave discipline, that does not mean that you allow the children to run amok in the house. I mean, let the primary disciplinarian be the biological parent. Why do I say this? Because when the primary disciplinarian is the step-parent, unless there is a very solid relationship there, or the children are so young that they naturally respond to the direction, when I say naturally, I mean in loose terms, of the step-parent, it is very tricky. Because it's the unspoken thing, you're not my mum, you're not my dad, you can't tell me what to do. And this is where open, honest conversations with your spouse is necessary. Now, here's the thing. The reason why you are struggling to get your husband on board is because of his own upbringing, and you're absolutely right. And possibly, I don't know your husband, but if the discipline was either non-existent or very harsh, he's got his own trauma to deal with, in which case, what he's seeing when he's disciplining is not his children, but himself. And he's erring on the side of being empathetic and being compassionate instead of being the disciplinarian, thinking, well, when I was being disciplined, this is how I perceived it, this is how I felt. Please do respond and let me know, and give me a bit more information about your husband's upbringing. But that is what I am perceiving, that his own upbringing when it came to discipline was an extreme. I don't believe that it was balanced, because if the way he was disciplined was balanced, he would. What I'm feeling is that he is afraid to discipline his children. And you see, again, as a father who has his kids, means there's a story to be told as to why the children are not with their mother. Why do I say this? Because naturally the kids are awarded to the parent. And so if there has been a tug of war between mum and dad and he has gained custody, then the image that he has to maintain, or the image that he feels that he has to maintain to his children in being just a loving parent and being what have you, it's too sensitive for him to discipline, because discipline in his mind is synonymous with not being loving. Okay, you've just posted, let me see what you're saying. Yes, he has had trauma. His wife passed away giving birth to his second daughter. Okay, so he won't discipline the older two. But see, I told you, I know my stuff, you know. I told you, I knew it. I said there has to be a reason as to why he feels bad. Okay, so what you do is, so what your issue is, Helen, is not how he disciplines his children. Where your work is how much understanding you show for what he feels about the passing of his first wife and the void that that left for his children. He feels bad for his children. In his head, what he's saying is, their mother's not here. Do you understand? So it's not that it's just his upbringing. You've got a double whammy. You've got the trauma from his childhood, which I could sense that, because there's a reason why a parent will not discipline. And then you have the trauma of losing a spouse with young children. So there's a lot going on there. I'm kind of feeling that we need to speak offline, because there's a lot going on here. Helen, I am very, very busy this week. However, do send me a message. Let's have a conversation. I don't normally do this, but I feel it is really important that we speak. I sense that you have a very beautiful family. I sense you have a very loving home. And what you need is some support, some tools, and a bit of understanding in how to manage the dynamics of the home. Your husband's not a bad guy, and I'm sure you know that. His issue is not about discipline. His issue is fear. His issue is fear of rejection of the love of his children, and the fact that he feels guilty that their mother is not there. So I will speak to you, and I will direct you in having a conversation with your husband about how much you understand his fears. It's got nothing to do with discipline. So yeah, please do hit me up, Helen, most certainly, please do that. Mariam says, especially with African dads and culture, you're going to have to tell me what you are referring to, please, Mariama, because sometimes I know. Hi, Karen, how are you doing? So Karen is my daughter's godmother, and it's her house that I go to in my dressing gown, and her house that I will sometimes go to if I want a couple of eggs because I can't be bothered to go to Tesco. So my advice today would be, make sure that you live next to relatives so that you can be pain in the butt, basically. Jolene O'Connor, thank you for jumping on here as well. And Chris Everts, lovely to have you on here. Please, guys, do share. Faye says, hi, I've only just managed to tune in. Bless you. You're going to have to catch the replay, sweetheart. No problem. Edwin Coffee Tea, how are you doing? Anita, I know you asked a question, and you said, I wanted to talk about love because of people's bad experiences. They sometimes close the door on love permanently, missing out on potentially good relationships. Is love a gamble worth taking? I say yes. I say yes too. Somebody asked me this morning that would I get married again? I said, when I do, I'll let you know. So the answer is yes, of course I would. Why wouldn't I? And he said, just as all women are not the same, neither are all men. There are multitudes of good people out there. Absolutely. Now, Anita, I don't have enough time to answer your question. And the one thing I would hate to do is just rush through. So hold that thought for next Sunday's show. So now you guys are getting a bit of an idea of what the new Speak with Dilys looks like. I know it's going to take you this is like the third one. So y'all need to get over it by now. This is what's going to be happening on Speak with Dilys. Y'all going to be running the conversation. It's not going to be about me. But we will have some old format stuff. You're very welcome, Helen, bless you. Shell's showing me some love, and Diana Wusu, thank you for being on here. Guys, I have not seen a lot of you share this video. I think it would be really good if you could, because as I said, I'm not doing sponsored ads on here. Speak with Dilys is now coming to a TV channel near you. It's going to be shown in a few countries as well. I will be giving you the full details. I'm sure by next week's show, I should be letting you know what's happening. And what else? There's a lot that I shall be sharing with you concerning the book launch of the 2 books, which I haven't finished writing yet. Pray for me, y'all. I'm working on it. I have not been in the best of health, but I am getting better. So there's a lot to look forward to. A lot. What channel will your show be on? I will reveal all very soon. I will reveal everything. The channel, the time, the day, everything. And even the theme song. So those of you that watched my live when I did the launch in April, it was lovely, guys. You guys should have been there, but you weren't. And I sang this song. When I run, I can't hide from the love I feel inside. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Loose the chains that had me bound. Freedom from hurt, freedom from pain. Send me sunshine, send me rain. So that's all you're getting. That's going to be the theme song, actually, of my show, which was produced by my brother, DJ Nicky Cartel, who actually has his EP out, which is on Spotify. So if you go on Spotify and put in DJ Nicky Cartel, NICKIE you'll be able to download the EP. Though I am not on the EP, we're actually doing an album, a separate album, which I will be featuring on, and one of the, executive producing a couple of the tracks as well. Hi Claudette, you're late. I'm about wrapping up now, my darling. So hopefully you can catch the replay, and guys, please do share. So that's what's going to be happening. A lot of good stuff. So I will keep you informed as always. There is going to be a massive launch at the end of the year. I'm not going to give you the date just yet because I think, no, I'm going to keep you in suspense. Just make sure when I release the date, whatever plans you have, cancel them. Cancel them and join me because it's going to be an amazing evening. We had such a great time. There will be sponsorship opportunities for that show, as well as the Speak with Dilys show as it goes on TV and yada, yada, yada. There's a lot going to be happening for me this week. I will be on here tomorrow evening. Thank you, my darling Claudette. Thank you, my sweetheart. I am going to be speaking actually at Westminster University tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. Now, I do not believe it's an open event. That's why I didn't really say anything. But I'm going to be speaking about relationships, you know, the stuff I normally talk about. And I think I'm sharing the stage with another lady. So that's going to be great. So there's a lot going on. I will be telling you what speaking engagements I have moving forward. So do stay tuned. Like I said, things are going to be evolving pretty quickly for me. So I hope you guys can catch up. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed the new look of Speak with Dilys. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you because you guys come with such wisdom. The questions you ask are so important. And I know, like, for example, Helen's question touches many of us. I've had a family where the step-parent dynamic was there. And there were challenges, and I've not really spoken about it too much. But one of the things that I did feel, and I do feel, is that when it comes to discipline, leave it to the biological parent. Because the love for your child, unless you're abusing the child, but when a biological parent disciplines their child, the child doesn't think you're only disciplining me because of X or Y. But the moment you're a step parent, oh, you're only treating me like that because you're not my real mum, you're not my real dad. So it's always very challenging to be able to discipline without the judgment of the child thinking that you're only disciplining them for X, Y, Z reasons. So, you know, I just get this sense that you have a lovely home and a lovely family, Helen, and just a little bit of love and support. I think you guys will do amazingly well. And I'm also quite happy to, I'll speak to you anyway, concerning your husband as well. So thank you, Marlene, for being here. So Marlene said, thank you for another great session. Like I said, you guys make the show. I don't make the show. I just facilitate. I just help you have great conversation, you know? So yeah, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, because what I'm going to be doing now is uploading the videos onto YouTube so that I can build that community there. Ideally, I would like to come on Facebook for obvious reasons. I mean, you only have to cough, your account is restricted, and it doesn't allow me to flow as I would like to. And I don't think you guys would be too happy if you come on a Sunday and I'm not here because, you know, these guys have restricted my account because I made a joke about snipping a friend's, you know, ponytail and them thinking that it was acts of violence. So yeah, that's how silly it's gotten now. And because computers are doing all of this stuff, it just makes it difficult. So the YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/Dilysilla. Nice and simple. My name, Dilysilla, is over all my social media handles. So whether it's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, like this fan page, is just my name. So, yes, Shell, I know you got banned for making a comment on my live. But yeah, just go on any of those and, you know, you will be able to find me real easy. So my name, as you can see, is spelled Dilys, and the surname is Sillah. I think that's how you spell my name, Dilys. So please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that is where you will be seeing the replay of the Speak with Dilys shows. It's all going to be lined up there. So guys, have a wonderful week. I have got so much work to do. I am not, normally what happens after the show is I have one friend of mine that I speak to that he will critique the show and tell me, Dilys, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's always great. And then I unwind and watch a movie. But Dilys, is your surname marriage name from Sierra Leone? Latte with Tiapo. Latte with Tiapo. You know, me I come out Ghana. The man where I've been married in a salon bobo. In name na the name Silla. Na me married name Dandy. Me your name na Duku, D-U-K-U. Na me maiden name Dandy. But now as I don't married that salon bobo, I've been changing my name. I widowed, so I know one for change my name back to my maiden name, because not to say I don't be married. I know one for erase my life, because I don't live my life. I gladly say I don't get the life I've been get, so I need for change my name. So if they ask me say me na salon titi, or whether say me na, you say it's Okay, so that was just a little bit of Creole I had to throw in there, because the question I was asked is the name Sillah, is it Sierra Leonean? Because she knows I'm not Sierra Leone. I'm like, no, my late husband was from Sierra Leone. So I thought, as I can speak Creole, I thought I'd just slide it in there. Just slide it in. So there you go. So you learn something new about me every day. All right, darling? I was actually born in Ilford, where a lot of people from Ilford, that's how they talk. So if you're from Ilford and you hear me talking like that, if you're offended, tough, because I don't really care. But yeah, guys, I've got to go. So have a wonderful week. I think you're an amazing audience. Thank you so much. Alma Dory says, multicultural queen, God bless you. Of course, I haven't talked to you. Well, good one. You don't know, you know, Sabi. And somebody said to me today that, how come you can speak Nigerian pidgin? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Guys, I've got to go. Lovely speaking to you. I shall see you next week, Sunday, God willing. Yeah, what I was going to say, I'm not going to say. You just have to log on next week, Sunday, 8 o'clock. Please do share, and I shall see you then. God bless. See you later on Speak with Dilys next week. God bless. Ciao, ciao.